Assume your crew wants to do a good job. And if you're ever disappointed in an outcome, don't blame them first. And instead look inward and ask yourself what you could have done differently to have generated a better outcome. Ask yourself if you've communicated to them where you're headed, if you've given them the training necessary to be successful, and did you give them the time and the resources to do a great job? So I take command of the ship, and instead of sitting behind my desk all day long, I decided I'm going to spend it walking the ship, talking to sailors, trying to drive home the point that we're going to stop operating this ship as silos, but instead we're going to operate together as a team. I came across a sailor one day and he says, "Captain, we have a term to describe the organization on this ship." He said, "This ship is like a tree full of monkeys." He said, "You're the monkey at the top of the tree. On every branch there's different levels of monkeys, and we're the monkeys in the bottom branch." He said, "Whenever you look down from the top of the tree, all you ever see are smiling faces coming back at you. When we look up from the bottom branch, we have an entirely different view of the organization." And it was then I started putting myself in their shoes and viewing the operation through their eyes. And it was then I realized my workforce is multi-generational, it's multicultural, and each group speaks their own language. And in order to turn this ship around, I'm going to have to get every group on board and to communicate to them in a language that they understand about where we're going and why it's important to control our own destiny. When I was out walking around the ship, historically captains look for people screwing off so we could reprimand them. I thought, let's turn this upside down. Let's look for people doing something great so that I could thank them for their hard work and dedication. I don't get to pay my sailors more. I can't give them bonuses. But you know what? I can catch them doing something great and thank them for going the extra mile. Give them validation. And from that validation can come confidence so that they step up to the plate, and take greater pride in themselves and in the organization. I do have one form of formal recognition I can give a sailor. They're called Navy Achievement Medals. And they're important to sailors because if they get one, they get a bonus point on their advancement exam. I'm authorized to give out 15 of these medals a year. So I'd walk around the ship with medals in my pocket. And if I caught a sailor doing something great, I'd put a medal on his or her chest right on the spot. Thank them for going the extra mile. As I told you, I'm authorized to give out 15 of these medals a year. I figured nobody at the Bureau of Naval Personnel was tracking how many medals I was giving out. In my first year in command, I gave out 115 Navy Achievement Medals. And I thought to myself, what's the worst they can do to me? Put me on one of the worst ships in the Navy and send me to sea? I'm already there, so there's nothing you can do to me. But I needed to create a sense of urgency on the ship. We were to deploy to the Middle East 2 months after I took command. I didn't have time for a 2-year turnaround program. I had 2 months. And I realized the only way I could create that sense of urgency is if I interviewed every sailor on the ship, each one individually, look them in the eye, tell them what we're about. We're playing to win. We're here to control our own destiny. And it's not a one-man show. It's about all 310 of us working together better as a team.